Okay, so you want the inside scoop on becoming a GP, right?
Right.
Well, you brought us a whole stack of stuff from RoleCatcher.
Smart move.
I know, right? We're talking career guides. We've even got interview tips, AI tools.
Oh, the AI stuff is wild.
Tell me about it. So get ready, folks, because we were about to deep dive into all of it. From like med student dreams all the way to seasoned pro wisdom. This is going to be good.
What I find really interesting is how RoleCatcher, they really break down this whole career path into these stages.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, become a doctor. It's like, no, build a whole career with steps. And it's clear, from entry level.
Oh, yeah.
Where hands-on experience is key, obviously, all the way to those like senior roles where you've got more and more responsibility. It's a process.
Right. And that's what I love. It's like they've mapped out the journey for you, and I am here for it. Okay, so they even give an example of an entry-level GP, right?
Yeah.
And they're starting with like patient assessment.
The basics.
Basic care, but still, it sounds intense, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Fresh out of med school.
Right. Imagine that.
You're the first line of defense for somebody's health. No pressure.
Talk about a crash course. That's why building that strong foundation early on is so crucial,
Total.
It's learning how to like really nail those patient histories, recognizing those red flags, when to call in the cavalry, all that. It's a lot.
Okay, so you're learning on the job, which is intense in itself.
Yeah.
But then RoleCatcher talks about junior GPs taking on even more. They're managing this diverse group of patients, prescribing medications, even doing some mentoring. It's like they're leveling up in the medical world.
And that mentorship piece is so key, not just for, the person being mentored, but for the junior GP too.
Oh, for sure.
Because it really makes them solidify their own knowledge,
Makes you feel confident.
Exactly. And who doesn't love the idea of passing on their wisdom to, like, the next generation of brilliant medical minds?
Passing the stethoscope, right?
Exactly.
So to speak. But speaking of wisdom, RoleCatcher paints this picture of senior GPs.
Right.
And they are practically medical superheroes at this point, leading teams, shaping healthcare policy. Their influence goes way beyond just like the exam room at this point.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It really shows you how that like boots on the ground experience in general practice really translates into this broader leadership,
Right.
They're not just like experts in their own little bubble anymore. They're influencing the direction of healthcare itself, which is huge.
It's amazing.
Can you imagine like being in a position to advocate for your patients on that kind of scale?
That's amazing.
Pushing for like actual policy changes that could help like countless people.
Wow.
It's pretty remarkable.
It's incredible. They've gone from like the trenches to the command center, basically, using all that experience to make a real difference. But, RoleCatcher is also very clear that this level of like expertise, it doesn't just happen overnight. They really stress this importance of continuous learning, even for the people who've been doing it forever.
And that's what I think is so cool about this field. It's like it never stops evolving.
Yeah.
Right? There's always new research coming out, new treatments. Technology is changing the game constantly.
Oh, yeah, totally.
A GP who just sits back and is like, I've learned it all, they're going to get left in the dust. It's that commitment to always learning, always growing that keeps them at the top of their game.
It's like they say, medicine is a practice.
Exactly.
You're always, honing those skills. You're expanding what you know.
100%.
But let's be real. Even the most brilliant doctor in the world, they still have to figure out how to deal with the job market. And that's where I think those AI tools that RoleCatcher talks about, that's where that stuff comes in. They actually talk about using tech to make your CV stand out.
Right.
Which in a field that's this competitive feels like a total game changer.
Oh, it totally is.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's such a crowded field. And with all this AI stuff coming into the recruitment process now, it's not even enough to just be a fantastic doctor.
Right.
You got to be a fantastic applicant too. So these tools that RoleCatcher talks about, they're all about helping you like really showcase those skills and your experience in a way that grabs attention.
Totally.
Even those digital gatekeepers, right?
Right.
The algorithm.
The algorithms. Okay, but speaking of like getting your foot in the door, what about the actual interview process? Because that can be terrifying.
Oh, tell me about it.
Even for seasoned pros, that stuff's nerve-wracking.
Oh, absolutely. And RoleCatcher knows this, which is great. They actually offer this like massive library of potential interview questions.
Oh, wow.
And they're tailored to different specialties, career levels, all of that.
Oh, that's smart.
So imagine You can actually walk into an interview and you kind of have a sense of what's coming, at least a little bit.
Right.
You can anticipate those curveball questions. That's huge.
That's amazing.
That's the power of preparation.
It's like having a crystal ball.
Right.
That's amazing. But they don't stop there.
No.
No, they even offer AI-powered feedback on your practice sessions.
Oh, wow.
They analyze your delivery, your body language.
No way.
Yeah. It's like having a little coach in your pocket.
That's amazing.
Minus the judgmental stares, hopefully.
Right. That's key.
But you know what? We've talked about the skills and the tech and the interview stuff. What about just, like, the human element of it all?
Oh, yeah.
Because being a GP, it's not just diagnoses and prescriptions, right? It's about actually connecting with people.
You're absolutely right. And that's something RoleCatcher hits on, too. You know, they emphasize those soft skills, the communication, the empathy.
Building that relationship.
Right.
Exactly.
It makes you realize it's not just about, like, the medical stuff, right?
Oh, no, not at all.
It's about understanding people's fears and their anxieties and all of that.
Absolutely. It's like, you got to be a good listener, you got to be a source of comfort, you got to be a trusted advisor, and oh yeah, you're also a doctor.
Right. It's a lot to juggle.
Seriously.
But that's really what it's all about, you know, meeting patients where they are.
Yeah.
With empathy, with understanding. And, you know, RoleCatcher even talks about how GPs can actually, like, tailor their communication styles.
Oh, interesting.
For patients with different backgrounds, different levels of, you know, understanding when it comes to the medical stuff.
Oh, that's so smart because not everyone speaks doctor, right?
Right.
Like, you got to break it down sometimes.
Exactly. It's like, how do you bridge that gap between all that complicated medical jargon and just, like, everyday language?
Totally. Make sure everyone's on the same page about their own health, which seems important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, what else I thought was really interesting? They talk about how communication, it's not just about the words. You know,
oh, tell me more.
RoleCatcher actually highlights how GPs can use body language to build trust.
Oh, wow.
To create that safe space for their patients.
That's so important.
It is. And it's the little things, too. Like, are you maintaining good eye contact?
Right.
What's your posture like? Are you maybe, like, subtly mirroring the patient's body language?
Wow, I never even thought about that, but it makes sense.
Right. It's like you're subconsciously saying, I see you, I hear you, and I'm here to help.
It's powerful stuff.
It really is.
But let's not forget, GPs, they're not just like solo artists out here navigating the world of medicine.
Oh, no, they're definitely not alone.
They're part of a much bigger team.
100%. And RoleCatcher does a good job of, like, highlighting that whole collaboration piece.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to work seamlessly with the nurses, with specialists, pharmacists, all those other healthcare professionals to really provide, like, well-rounded care, you know?
Oh, for sure.
It's like an orchestra almost.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. Everyone's got their part to play.
Yeah.
And when everyone's in sync, you get this beautiful outcome for the patient.
I love that analogy. And speaking of, like, roles to play, I kind of want to dig a little deeper into how RoleCatcher defines the different stages of a GP's career path, you know?
Yeah.
Because they mention those entry-level and junior and senior roles, but what does that actually look like in the real world?
That's a great question. And honestly, I think that's the perfect place to shift our focus. So let's imagine for a second that we're those bright-eyed medical students.
Okay, yeah.
Fresh out of exams, like, we just aced everything.
We're feeling good.
Ready to go out there and, like, change the world. That's usually where this whole journey towards being a GP, that's where it starts, right?
Okay, yeah. I'm picturing myself in those, like, squeaky clean scrubs.
Right.
Stethoscope, ready to go.
Exactly. So what does RoleCatcher say about those first few steps? They're big ones.
They are big ones. What do we got to do?
Well, they really stress the importance of hands-on experience, especially during those early years.
Makes sense.
You're building that solid foundation of clinical skills. Think of it like, you know, your medical residency, but like a super condensed version.
Okay.
You're doing those patient assessments, you're helping with diagnoses, really learning the ropes of primary care.
So you're soaking up knowledge like a sponge.
Yes, exactly. But instead of getting wrinkly, you're gaining confidence and competence.
I like that a lot better than the sponge analogy.
Right. And they actually give this very specific example. It's like, imagine an entry-level GP. They're doing a routine checkup.
Yeah.
And they notice something's a little off.
Oh, no.
Turns out the patient has a potential heart condition.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a real-life medical mystery, right?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And it just shows you the impact they can have even at that early stage.
Exactly. But then what happens when you move past those entry-level years?
Right, because you can't be entry-level forever.
Exactly. As you get more experience, more confidence, you take on more and more responsibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not just shadowing anymore, you're leading. And RoleCatcher describes junior GPs as, like, they're managing a diverse range of patients, they're diagnosing and treating illnesses on their own, they're even prescribing medication.
Wow, they're really in the thick of it now. It's like they've leveled up in the medical world.
Right. They're not just following orders anymore. They're making those judgment calls.
That's huge.
It is huge. And with that comes a whole other set of challenges.
Oh, I bet.
But also the rewards that come with it. And RoleCatcher points out, a lot of times junior GPs even find themselves mentoring.
Oh, that's cool.
So now they're the ones guiding those medical students or interns through those same steps they just took.
Oh, I love that. It's like paying it forward, but with stethoscopes and patient charts. I love it. But I imagine the learning curve, it doesn't stop there, does it?
Oh, absolutely not. RoleCatcher, they're very clear about this. Continuous learning, it's not optional.
Right.
It's essential, especially as a GP moves into those more senior roles.
So, like, what does it even mean to be a seasoned GP in this world of medicine that never stops changing?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting.
So we've journeyed from those wide-eyed early years to, like, the seasoned pros, right?
We've arrived.
We're here. So what does RoleCatcher say about reaching, like, the peak of a GP career? What does that even look like?
Well, they paint this picture of senior GPs as being so much more than just doctors at this point.
Okay.
They're leaders, they're mentors, they're advocates for their patients.
That's amazing.
It's like reaching the top of your medical game.
Totally.
Not only are they handling those really complex cases, leading whole healthcare teams,
Yeah.
but they're also the ones shaping healthcare policy, mentoring the next generation of doctors coming up.
Wow. So they've gone from mastering the stethoscope to, like, maybe even influencing the people who make the stethoscopes. I love it. What kind of impact are we talking at that level, though? Like, what can they actually do?
It's huge. They're finally in a position to advocate for those big systemic changes that can really impact, like, tons of people.
Yeah.
Like, imagine a senior GP, they've been working for a while. They start to notice, okay, there's this trend of, I don't know, this particular illness in my community. They can actually use all their experience, all that influence they've built up to say, hey, we need better preventative care for this, or we need more research funding to find new treatments. That's a big deal.
That's amazing. So it's like they've become the voice of their patients, but not just in that individual way, but like on a much bigger scale.
Exactly. They've got a platform now,
Yeah.
and they're not afraid to use it.
I love that. But RoleCatcher doesn't just, like, talk about this generally, right? They actually give an example of a senior GP, don't they?
They do, and it's a really good one, too. It
What?
shows just how much a career in general practice, like how much it can change over time.
Okay, tell me more.
So this GP, they started out in a rural community, and they were dealing with all those challenges that come with that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like limited access to specialists, not enough resources,
Oh, yeah.
tough stuff. But through sheer determination and years of experience, they actually became a leading advocate for rural health care.
Wow.
They were even advising policymakers on how to improve services for underserved communities, which is amazing.
That's what it's all about. It's
Yeah.
not just about treating illnesses. It's about serving those communities, advocating for people who really need it, and using your experience to make that happen. That's powerful stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have covered so much ground here. From those very first steps as a med student all the way to becoming a seasoned pro. It's quite a journey.
It really is. And I think what's so cool about how RoleCatcher approaches this whole thing, it's not just, here's what a GP does. It's more like, here are all these different paths you can take, and here's the impact you can make at every single stage.
Right. It's like they've given you a roadmap, but you get to choose where you're going.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, so for anyone listening who's thinking, okay, this sounds amazing, I'm ready for this medical adventure, where do you even begin?
Well, first of all, congrats on taking this first step. Just by listening to this, by diving into these resources, you're already showing that curiosity, that commitment to learning. And honestly, that's essential for any aspiring GP.
Totally.
Now it's just about asking yourself those big questions, like what parts of being a GP really light you up?
Yeah, what are you passionate about?
Exactly. What kind of impact do you want to have on your patients, on your community?
Those are good questions.
They're big ones.
They are big ones, but it's okay not to have all the answers right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Even the most amazing GPs out there, they started right where you are, curious, eager, and ready to learn.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe someday you'll be the one inspiring all those future GPs with your own incredible journey, right?
I love it.
The path to becoming a GP, yeah, It's demanding. There's no doubt about it.
It's a lot of hard work.
But as we've seen today, it's also incredibly rewarding.
Absolutely. And that is a wrap on our deep dive into the world of general practitioners.
Ooh.
We hope these insights from RoleCatcher have been helpful for you, but more importantly, we hope we've sparked something. Maybe a little imagination, a little passion for this amazing, amazing profession.
You got this.
Go out there, make your mark on the world, one patient at a time.
That's it.